Hi, Jonathan at Nutrient Physio here. Just a quick case study from an interesting patient this week. So this person has been struggling for a long time with being able to flatten his foot. So he's got very arched feet. So supinated foot is up in like in this kind of position, so arched under the middle of the foot. And then a pronated position is when it kind of goes into a lengthening and a widening position. So this person was struggling to get it into the long and straight position. Now we need to be able to do both when we're walking. It's very important to get the right muscles and joints moving and in the correct positions. One way we often help someone to get into this position is by using wedges. So we can put one wedge under the heel to get the heel bone to plantarflex or point down, internally rotate, so angling this way, and to evert, so angle towards the outside. And then in the forefoot, in a pronated position, we'd be looking for an internal or inversion, an external rotation, and a dorsiflexion. So kind of in the opposite position that this wedge is showing. So we use the wedges to help the foot lengthen and widen. So supination, pronation. Now with this person, even with the wedges, we are really struggling to get this space underneath the middle of the foot to lengthen and get some length into it. So we couldn't get out of the supinated position. When we look back at his injury mechanism of injury in his history, we found that his ankle sprain 10 years ago wasn't of the normal kind of nature. So often with an ankle sprain, when you go over the ankle, you'll roll out under this part. Or if you look at an actual foot, we've all kind of done it. You're walking along or running, playing sport, you roll over. So you strain around the outside ligaments. With this one, the strain or the injury was more around the back, so along these tendons around the outside of the ankle bone. So these tendons, as you can see in this picture, I'll keep it that way up, they run down the outside of the leg. There, they run down the outside of the leg, around the outside bone under the foot, and as they come under the foot, they attach onto this medial cuniform and first metatarcel head, and they actually pull the foot into pull the forefoot. So this Peroneus Longus tendon pulls the forefoot into an everted position. So everted means it's angled out to the side, and it's most affected when the rear foot is angled up like this. So it's most active in this position. This muscle has two roles. Firstly, it needs to be able to lengthen in a controlled way when we pronate or flatten the foot to allow this to happen. So this muscle comes underneath the foot, attaches onto here, and pulls the forefoot out into that position. If that doesn't lengthen in a controlled manner, that foot's going to stay in this arch position. So what we found is that when we were able to release this muscle around the back of the fibular head here, straight away we were able to start to get some length underneath this arch. So his foot was almost being pulled up and kept in this arch position. So working on the Peroneus Longus tendon around the back of the fibula, thinking about the mechanisms of injury and its attachments, we were able to finally start to get, using the wedges as well, just adjust these. So using the wedges to help with the rear foot dropping in and going into that position, we were finally able to get some length through that arch region of the foot. So often it's the bones that we need to move to get the muscles changing length, but in this case it was a bit of both. So we needed to use the wedges to help move the bones and also think back to that mechanism of injury and the anatomy of the joints. What wasn't lengthening to allow this lengthening and change in this space under here. So the Peroneus Longus tendon comes down the fibula, around the back of it, under the foot, and attaches to here. So if you're struggling with allowing your foot to pronate, consider that as another thing to look at. We're always happy to help here at Nutrient. Give us a shout.